I'm Klea Blackhurst, and you're watching Broadway Encore on BroadwayBlogspot.com. I'm based in New York City, and I moved here many years ago because this is where they keep Broadway, and it's been a long time. I think I may have been born too late for what would have really been my strength and But revivals are done. The great songs live and they live on. So about 10 years ago, I was not getting cast in the things I wanted to be doing, and there wasn't really. Broadway had become dominated by the triple threat. So I move well, but I am not a dancer by any stretch of the imagination, as anyone who's choreographed me would be happy to tell you, I'm sure. But so I just started writing things that I could star in, basically. And but I come from a theater background. I grew up in a musical theater household. My mom's a musical theater actress, and so I was one of those kids that was always at rehearsals, falling asleep on my little blanket, in between the theater seats. And I have this great love of American musical comedy, back when we called it musical comedy. So that's what I came to New York to do, but my journey has sort of taken some detours through, nightclubs, into cabaret, into comedy. And just now, I think maybe my character years might be coming back, so hopefully I'm getting back into getting to do a lot more theater. I just did the revival of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn with Peccadillo Theater Company and played Aunt Sissy, which is a fabulous, character role. And I've done your requisite Reno Sweeney's and Mrs. Sally Adams, and I definitely have trod the Ethel Merman songbook, which is, we can talk about in terms of like what I do with cabaret and solo performing. A lot of that is anchored in the work of Ethel Merman and that kind of voice, the belter, and the theater history of that kind of thing. My expertise in show business a little bit right now definitely involves cabaret, what they call cabaret. And if you ask somebody what is cabaret, I think you would get so many different answers, because it's very hard to define now exactly what it is. There was a golden age of cabaret. A lot of, famous Broadway stars would finish their shows at 11 o'clock, would head over to La Rue Bon Bleu, do their 11:40 set, then their 1:20 set, and another show at 3 a.m. They didn't have television. They just stayed out all night, and then they went to work. I don't know what they were doing back then, but it sounds like it was fun. But that tradition of cabaret or nightclub singing, the chanteuse who takes a song and really brings it to life by understanding the lyrics and being a brilliant storyteller, that history has kind of come down to today. It's confusing because I would say cabaret now is something that happens in a cabaret. And so it can be highly theatrical in nature. It can be highly, it can really be nightclub. It can be your favorite folk singer decides to come in. It can be a comedian who decides to maybe put some music to what they do. But those rooms that are defined as cabaret are really the only thing that it has solidly going for it as a definition. And they're smaller rooms that you can, generally speaking, there's the prestige rooms, the Carlisle, the Algonquin, Feinstein's at the Regency, Birdland, there's the Metropolitan Room, the Duplex, Don't Tell Mama. I mean, it comes to a definite, there's a whole bunch of rooms that have different sizes of seating capacity and so on. And it's really a genre right now that depends an awful lot on the performer having a following. In other words, very few people just stumble into Don't Tell Mama tonight and say, I'll see whatever's on at 7. Or I'll sit there all night and see your 7 o'clock show and your 9:30 show. And it's more that people end up there at 7 because one of their favorite singers is going to be there, or somebody that they know is going to be there, and so on. So it's a tough thing to define. show that's called Everything the Traffic Will Allow. Its little subtitle is The Songs and Sass of Ethel Merman. And the way that came about really was this, what I was saying, trying to get into Broadway shows or trying to get into any theatrical, regional theater or whatever. There was a time where it just said there was not a lot for me to do. And certainly, and the way I know that is nobody was hiring me to do any of it. So it was one of those natural transition times, like, should I be trying to figure out another profession? Should I be figuring out another way to take these talents and use them? And so I decided, well, a lot of people said to me, you're funny. Ha! And you should try doing your own show, And before I gave up, before I really quit, I thought I really should try to do that, just for the heck of it. So I did an act, and it went well, and a couple of years went by, and somebody said to me, when are you going to do something else? And I had been working on something for about a year and a half, and it was this tribute to Ethel Merman. And I finally opened it early in 2001, and it was a monster hit. It just became a word-of-mouth kind of phenomenon, and it was just, it just grew and grew and was covered in the Times, and all these people wanted to see it, and there was enough positive, there was enough positive reinforcement coming back that's like, I shouldn't be finished. I don't know that it meant, it was no greater sign than you're just not done. That you are good at this is what you do. And I have paid publicists so much money to make sure that the first thing that comes out of anybody's mouth is, I do not imitate Ethel Merman. It was a show where, it does not strictly follow the chronology of the 13 shows Ethel Merman starred in, but it follows the stories and the feeling and uses music from those shows with my own band and my own arrangements, and to just to talk about the songs and sass of this amazing 20th century performer. And it's just been a great gift to me. It's given me a certain a level of expertise. Like, if you need to talk about Ethel Merman, you will at some point find your way to Klea Blackhurst to say, yeah, she really knows her stuff, or I don't know what all the hubbub is about. The great thing about doing my own shows, and there is the Merman show, but I've also have a fabulous show on Vernon Duke. I do one with Billy Stritch on Hoagie Carmichael. I have all kinds of stuff that I do. The Merman one is the one people know. So, and I love that, and I don't discount it, but there is more to that side of me than her career. But the great thing about that for a performer, I notice, if I go to an open mic night or something and I see actors, Broadway actors even, the finest talents that we have, sometimes they're very afraid to be themselves. They don't know how to get from like one song to another song, because they're not used to, they're not used to being turned out there without a character name, without costumes, without custom-made ladukas. They're not comfortable with that, because their world is this other world that has a lot of collaboration in it. And the solo stuff for me is great and a real opportunity for performers to explore, even if you find that's not your favorite thing in the world that you've ever done, or it's not what you want to do. It's great because you're responsible for your show. It's your show. You can get a director that you like. You can write your own. You can write the book in between what you're going to do. You can have somebody else write it. You can very much be in control of what your future is, what your project is going to look like. And for better or for worse, that's you. When you're in between jobs, when you're in between what is your attachment to theater, to material, to music? It's just a real opportunity to explore that for yourself. And there's a lot of freedom and self-worth that comes through doing that, and knowing like, I can do it. I can be myself and not only live behind the name of a character that somebody decided I could have the job playing. Just give it to yourself. Hi, I'm Klea Blackhurst, and thank you for watching BroadwayBlogspot.com.